You're listening to Radio Marin, a show run by youth in Marin County to inspire, educate, and be heard, with your host, Annalie Reyes.
And your co-host, Santi Hernandez.
And your co-host, Min Soon.
Thank you for joining us this week on Tay Radio. Make sure to tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Tay Radio Marin.
Welcome back to Tay Radio, everyone. I'm your host, Annalie Reyes.
And I'm your co-host, Santi Hernandez.
And I'm your co-host, Min Soon.
On today's show, we'll be talking about the war conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
The Armenian-Azerbaijan war conflict started out as a geographical war between the two countries fighting over the area in between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The area is actually in Azerbaijan, but it's currently inhabited by two groups of people, the Armenian citizens and the Azerbaijan citizens. The Armenian government is supporting the ethnic people that live there in that area.
But before we continue with today's show, I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in today. I know we've had some struggles, difficulties with technology, and we've missed 2 shows, but thank you. And with that, I will hand it on to Annalie, who will give us the word of the week.
Thank you. I wanted to share a quote that we may have heard multiple times, but I feel like it's a quote that we relate to a lot, and it's "Good things take time." And I feel like that is like one of the quotes that I think we heard a lot during this pandemic, because this pandemic is going to take a while, and it's been taking a while. I remember it was only going to be 2 weeks of like being at home and not have school, but it ended up being longer than that, you know? But I feel like we should take in consideration that everything takes time, so we have to be patient, and great things will happen later on once we are patient and are positive within ourselves and being safe and healthy. So yeah, that's my quote of the week. And before we do go further into today's show, we will be hearing our PSAs of this week, and we'll be right back.
Are you in an unhealthy relationship? Are you a victim of a crime? Need someone to talk to? Well, the Victim Witness Program is able to help you by giving you the support and help that you need to be safe. You can call the Victim Witness Program at 415-473-5080. Again, the number is 415-473-5080.
Wildfire season is here again. Pacific Gas and Electric will turn off electricity when there is extreme fire danger to reduce the risk of wildfires. Marin residents need to be ready in case of prolonged power outages. First, you can sign up to get notifications about planned power outages. These will tell you when the power outages are likely to happen and how long the power will be out. To receive notifications, text your zip code to 888-777. Second, be sure to have a working flashlight, enough food and water for 3 days, and other necessary items stored in your house and or your car. Third, learn about how to prepare to keep your family safe in case of a wildfire or extended power outage. See emergency preparedness information on the readymarin.org website. Please text your zip code to 888-777 to get on the alert system today.
Welcome back, watchers or listeners. We hope you found the PSA helpful. We'll continue on talking more about what really is going on between Azerbaijan and Armenia and the background history of it and how it started. And we'll leave that to Min.
The problem that sparked the war in 2020 between Azerbaijan and Armenia was the violence that was inflicted by both sides of the people that lived in the controlled area of Azerbaijan. So the people in Azerbaijan was outraged at the violence that happened in their territory between the Armenian citizen and their own citizen. So the people of Azerbaijan demand that the government to take control of the land. And a few days later, both countries started to blame each other. And not long after, Turkey and Russia got involved in the conflict, with Turkey supporting Azerbaijan and Russia supporting Armenia.
And when it comes to conflicts and disagreements, we're humans and we like to be right all the time, and it happens. So, and it gets worse when two sides don't agree on certain things. And that's when war crimes happen. So before I talk about some of the events that have been happening, I like to talk about what is a war crime. And a war crime is an act that consists of serious violations of the laws. So an example of these acts could be, they're mostly individual people committing crime. So it consists of murder, cruel treatment, torture, and those are some extreme examples. And part of an article that I was reading was that due to this big conflict between the two disagreements, there was a massive crowd, and around 21 people were killed and 71 were injured during the attack. And it's crazy because, you really think about it, it's 21 people, and it's 70 people injured. It's not just, example that I'm giving is just Armenians, but there are there are so many multiple attacks and disagreements that are happening.
Well, I was wondering, was it like in the territory of Azerbaijan where they have conflict between the two, or is it like certainly like in Armenia? Like, are they being killed there in Armenia, or is it in the territory where they have conflict?
I believe it's in the territory.
Okay, yeah, because I remember reading the article. I mean, there was a video where they have the territory where Min mentioned about where there's citizens of Armenia who live there, but it's located in Azerbaijan. So that's like, the territory where they are having conflict. But yeah, thank you, Santi, for clarifying and helping me understand a little bit more. But I do wanted to mention why this war or conflict right now that's happening is giving so much attention. And one of the main reasons why it's like getting a lot of attention is because there's other countries being involved, and it's like big countries like Russia. So like Min mentioned, there's Russia and Turkey being involved, and the involvement of Turkey and Russia has okay, let me rephrase this better, but Turkey and Russia have been fighting for many years, and several times for geographic issues. And you can search it up and you'll see a list of history that they had. And like Min mentioned, Russia supports Armenia and Turkey supports Azerbaijan. Armenia already had an alliance with Russia before this conflict. And their alliance is called Collective Security Treaty Organization, which is a military alliance. And it includes other countries like Tajikistan. And they are involved with this conflict based on their interests. And later on in the show, I wanted to mention about how these countries are interested in how this war is going to end up, because it can affect other countries' economy. And hopefully we'll go over that. But we'll shortly come back after playing a song by Yuk. So yeah, we'll be right back. Welcome back. The artist you were listening to was by Yuk. You can stream his music on Spotify at Yusako Nakano. If you are or know a local artist, send your music our way via email or DM at terryderman to be mentioned on the show. So I did mention how there was different interests for these different countries, and it's because one of the main reasons is the economic issues that might happen if one country wins. Like for example, like the oil production is very huge in Azerbaijan, and I remember like I've done a own presentation of Azerbaijan in my 10th grade year, and I remember that their main source of economy is making oil, because they're right next to the sea that produces a lot of oil. And so there's a lot of connections to pipelines to different countries, and there's like two pipelines. One is called Baku-Tbilisi-Kanyhan and Trans-Anatolian Natural Gas Pipeline that passes through Turkey. And Turkey, let me remind you guys that Turkey supports Azerbaijan. And so an interesting fact is that Turkey can block the borders of Armenia, because Turkey is neighbors with Armenia, and since Turkey supports Azerbaijan, it can block the borders of Armenia when they're in war or conflict. So yeah, and it affects other countries if oil production is not going well due to the war conflicts. So if oil is not being passed to other countries, then it will affect the economy of different countries. But Min, did you wanted to add a little bit more about what I have just said?
So I think religion plays a part in why Russia and Turkey support Armenia or Azerbaijan. It's because Turkey is an Islamic country. I think they are 100% Islamic. I think Islamic is like their religion for the whole country. And since Azerbaijan is 94% Islamic, I think that's why Turkey decides to side with Azerbaijan. And Armenia is Russia Catholic for 93%, which is probably why Russia supports Armenia.
And I remember mentioning how I learned a little bit about these countries in my school. My class particularly was AP Euro, and everyone had assigned countries. So I was lucky to have some information about Azerbaijan. But have you guys learned anything about the war conflicts of Russia or anything around that realm in your schools?
Well, I personally went to a private Islamic school before. So I had teacher from Turkey came to teach. And from what I know is that Turkey is a somewhat conservative country. And like most people in Turkey are very religious to their faith. Yeah, that's what I know. and I did know that the treaty that Armenia and Russia has, I'm pretty sure that was in a treaty that involves the old Soviet Union, like every country that was part of the old Soviet Union. So, what about you, Santi?
I do not remember learning about the conflicts that are surrounding in that area. I took AP US history, and that's the only history that I remember the most, because when I was learning about world history, I didn't necessarily I didn't really connect with the teaching system that my teacher had. So it's hard for me to understand or grasp, the information I was given. So I'm pretty sure I did learn about it. I just had a hard time, understanding, the information. But it's interesting. I know Annalie mentioned that it's all about, land and how that affects the land and how it affects the community. But I think, in my opinion, the most important thing is the people, how the people are, because when I hear about, war or disagreements with different countries, and they attack each other, the only thing that comes in my head is the children, because, they're not you can't blame little kids, because they have no idea. And so when conflicts like this happens, for me, that's where my head goes. And that's when I get frustrated, or I get disappointed, because, they're paying sometimes, like I said, sometimes war crimes happen because of disagreements, and the people who pay the price are kids and people who don't have really like their voices, they're not considered yet. So it's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that, like, not even like it just affects children all around. Like, if kids get hurt, then that's like something that's hurting them, but like also their parents, if their parents are injured or they're killed, they're still affected by it, like they have, like, what if they don't have anyone else besides them, besides their parents? So like, yeah, I agree that like it just affects all around children especially, and I feel bad for them. Like, I hope they do find support, and yeah. But I wanted to ask one of you guys, as a listener, why would we be telling this news if we live in the United States? Since this topic is only happening, this war conflict is only happening in Armenia and Germany. Any of you guys want to answer this question?
Well, honestly, I feel like we should be more aware of what's happening around us, even though it's not in the US. Because remember what happened in World War II in the beginning with Nazi Germany, and how like we did get like news from them, but really didn't act on it about the genocide that's happening there. I feel like if other countries were to like get involved sooner, perhaps like World War II wouldn't have lasted that long, and we wouldn't have been dealing with so many losses. Cause like it's just that like we should be not only looking out for ourselves, but for our other people that might need our help. Even though media say that like, oh, they don't need help, they're fine, but who are the media to tell what's happening with the locals there? Like, obviously, there's things such as propaganda and things like that. So I feel like we should be on watch in case the worst happens.
Yeah, like, I like how you mentioned that, because like just like we can even relate it to the pandemic. Like, I remember like I've heard about coronavirus in China and how it's just happening in China. So I wasn't really worried about it happening here in the United States. I thought it was just going to be, controlled over there. And I don't know, it just didn't pass through my mind that it can pass it through United States. Like it didn't get real until like I saw like newspapers that saying that coronavirus is in the United States. But yeah, I think it's very important for us to be informed about what's happening in other worlds, because like maybe we could have stopped, coronavirus from spreading to the United States. There was like so many preventions that we could have done if we were informed about what's happening to other countries, because it's like a domino effect. I feel like we can only do so well because we are like we have like different interests in each other's countries, like we need a producer and we need a buyer. So that's like one of the connections that we have with like other countries. And I feel like it just affects everyone because we're all humans, Santi, do you wanted to add anything?
No, I totally agree with both of you that it's important to be aware of what's happening around us. I tend not to watch the news or hear about, sometimes the news gives you the worst part and never gives you like the good side or gives you another picture. They always tell you like, oh, this is the crime or this is this. So I've personally grew up in a home where we don't watch the news. It's just something that we've gotten a habit to. But I think that it's important to just know what's happening around the world, just get a little bit of an understanding. That doesn't necessarily mean that you fill yourself with fear. That's the problem with news, is that you get fear. You get like fearful because you're like, I can give an example. It's if you hear in the news that this town, there was a murder, you automatically think, I'm afraid to go to that town because there was a murder there. And in reality, you start getting all of these fears. However, it's very important to know what's happening around us, because then that way we're knowledgeable. And when someone gives us false information, you have a better, you know the truth, because you know about the certain things that are happening. And like you guys mentioned, coronavirus and World War II, that is something that we can also see that they needed outside help or support to be able to get things going. And like Min mentioned that, the whole the genocide that was going over there, it was a really big event, and we study it in schools, and we see all the images, the very graphic images. And so it's better to know, that way we can, prevent things from getting worse. So I agree with both of what you guys said.
Yo, she don't kill this shit. Yeah, she made me heartless. She hopping in the mosh pit. Yeah, she made me wanna drop. She made me wanna lock it. She wants my mind, I lost it. She wants my heart, but it's rotten. Yeah, I got a black heart, I'm a rock star. Running out of patience, baby, I'm not a doctor. Running past my enemies, but I think I lost her. Stuck up in the clouds, in my thoughts, I need to talk to her. Talk to her. Talk to her, it's a massacre. My mind's starting to blur. Yeah, I need to find the light. Spent too much time in this darkness. I was so low, she told me she's my mistress. I was tripping out, all I did was listen. Rolling up again, I know I'm a misfit. Fucking with my mental, please keep your distance. Yeah, stay away. You bring me so much pain. You a demon, I can see it in your fangs. I can't think cause you f***ing with my brain. I'm starting to feel sick, but I can't feel shit. Yeah, numb to the touch, but the emotions are blue. I'm in the clouds, baby, I'm about to trip. Yeah, I'm about to flip. Yeah, she made me heartless. She hopping in the mosh pit. Yeah, she made me wanna drop. She made me wanna lock it.
I agree with what you said about media. Like, we should take a balance of it. Like, be informed, but also be informed correctly, because media can like, I don't know, like they can say false information or misunderstand something, or you misinterpret it. And I feel like especially in certain apps like Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, those are the places where most people like repost stuff or retweet, or just share like everything that might not be like true, you know, like they might be sending false information. And I always like try to give like be like the best I can with giving the correct information. But like if we don't give the right information, we always encourage you guys to open discussion of what you guys heard or like what you think is true, because we all want to know the truth, right? So yeah, I hope. Did you want to say anything, Sandy?
Yeah, I just wanted to encourage our listeners to get informed. And you mentioned something very important, that today, like, our news is through social media. And like you said, it's retweets and all that stuff. So make sure before you repost or retweet something that you know that where the source is coming from, and you know it's actually truthful. Because like I said, what happens is that we end up like, it's like a glass cup, and the false information, it just keeps filling up a glass cup. In reality, that's like fear. You put fear into people, and that's why people think this way and that way. So just be informed, know where your information comes from, but also don't let fear control you. Because with news and events that happen in the world, that's like one of the biggest things is fear. You get fear, and then that's why you think you have opinions in certain ways. So don't let fear control you and dominate you. Rather, it's better to get informed, and if you really believe in something and believe in a topic, do your research and do what you can to help the what would you say, the cause that you are interested in, or that calls on to you.
Well, I think this was a great discussion that we had, and a good overview of what's really happening in Germany. I mean, in Armenia and Azerbaijan. But sadly, we are near the end of the show. But before we end the show, do you guys have any final words? I know Santi kind of just gave hers. So, Min, do you have any final words?
Stay safe, stay informed, be aware. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
All right. We want to thank everyone who's watching and listening, and we hope you all have a good weekend. Bye, guys.
This is the end of our show for this week. Make sure to catch us next week at 4 p.m. on Facebook and Instagram at TayRadioMarin.